Thank you for watching Safe Haven Radio. Today, we're going to explore something that many of you have shared with me. That persistent feeling that you're just unlucky, that misfortune seems to follow you wherever you go. You know, when things keep going wrong despite your best efforts, when opportunities seem to slip through your fingers, or when others around you seem to effortlessly succeed while you struggle with one setback after another. I want you to know that these feelings are completely valid, and you're not alone in experiencing them. Many of us have felt this way at different points in our lives. What we're going to discover together today is that what we perceive as bad luck isn't actually about cosmic forces working against us. Recent research has revealed fascinating insights about how our brains process and interpret the events in our lives, and more importantly, how we can actually retrain these neural patterns. Today's content is based on current scientific understanding, and while it may provide helpful perspectives, please remember that if you're experiencing persistent feelings of hopelessness or depression, it's important to reach out to a mental health professional who can provide personalized support. Let's explore this together, and please remember, there's no pressure to implement everything we discuss today. Take your time, go at your own pace, and choose what resonates with you. Sometimes just understanding why we feel the way we do can be the first step toward positive change. The scientific evidence around luck perception is truly fascinating. A major research institution published groundbreaking findings in 2025 that examined how our beliefs about luck directly impact our well-being. In this comprehensive study with over 400 participants, researchers made an important distinction between general belief in luck as a force in the universe and personal perception of our own luckiness. What they discovered was remarkable. Those who believed themselves to be personally lucky showed measurably higher levels of both cognitive and emotional well-being, regardless of their actual life circumstances. When neuroscientists examined brain activity patterns, they found that individuals who tend to attribute negative events to bad luck show different activation patterns in specific brain regions compared to those who see events differently. The anterior cingulate cortex, which helps us imagine future scenarios and process self-related information, and the inferior frontal gyrus, involved in response control, both show distinct patterns based on how we attribute events in our lives. This isn't just abstract theory. These are measurable, physical differences in how our brains process information. Perhaps most encouraging is what research reveals about brain plasticity. Multiple studies have confirmed that our attribution patterns, how we explain why things happen to us, aren't fixed. A research team demonstrated that each time we practice thinking differently about outcomes, we literally strengthen new neural pathways. Over time, these new pathways can become dominant, changing our automatic responses to events. Brain imaging studies show that people with what psychologists call an internal locus of control, believing they have influence over outcomes, display greater activity in the left hemisphere frontal regions of the brain. These same regions are associated with higher self-esteem, resilience, and the ability to recover from setbacks. Current research suggests that many of us conflate luck with ability in ways we don't even realize. This confusion leads to systematic misattributions that can affect everything from our career trajectories to our relationships. Dopamine, the neurotransmitter associated with motivation and reward, plays a crucial role here. Research shows that dopamine levels directly influence whether we perceive positive possibilities as achievable through our actions or simply matters of luck. The good news is that these patterns can be modified through specific, evidence-based practices. Now, let's explore some practical methods that research has shown can help shift our perception from feeling unlucky to recognizing our own agency. These aren't quick fixes, and they require patience and practice, but the scientific evidence for their effectiveness is compelling. The first method I'd like to share is the daily attribution log. This is a simple but powerful tool backed by cognitive research. For 1 week, try recording 3 events each day. They can be small or significant. For each event, write down whether you initially thought it happened because of luck, your abilities, your effort, or the difficulty of the situation. Research shows that just the act of tracking these attributions begins to create awareness and can start shifting neural patterns within days. You might notice patterns you weren't aware of before. Remember, there's no right or wrong here. This is simply about observation and awareness. The second technique is called reframing external to internal. When you catch yourself thinking, "That was bad luck," pause and try to identify just one action you took that might have influenced the outcome, even in a small way. Studies have demonstrated that finding these connections, however minor they might seem, activates regions in the left hemisphere associated with personal control and well-being. For example, if you missed a bus and initially think, "Just my luck," you might reframe it as, "I chose to leave at that specific time." This isn't about blaming yourself, it's about recognizing your participation in events. The third method is evidence collection practice. Each evening, try writing down 3 pieces of evidence showing how your actions influenced the day's events. They don't have to be major accomplishments, even small choices count. Maybe you smiled at someone and brightened their day, or you chose to take a different route and discovered something new. Neuroscience research confirms that this practice strengthens connections in the prefrontal cortex, the brain region responsible for recognizing personal agency. Over time, this can fundamentally change how you perceive your role in life events. The fourth technique is controllability mapping. When facing challenging situations, try creating 2 columns, what I can control, and what I cannot control. Then, consciously direct your mental energy only toward the controllable column. Brain imaging studies show this practice reduces activation in the amygdala, our brain's alarm system, while increasing activity in the prefrontal regions associated with emotional regulation and decision-making. This doesn't mean ignoring real challenges, but rather focusing your energy where it can make a difference. The fifth method is success pattern recognition. Take some time to review your past successes, no matter how small they might seem. Try to identify the specific efforts, skills, and decisions that contributed to those positive outcomes. Research indicates that this retroactive analysis is actually more effective at rewiring attribution patterns than forward-looking affirmations. When we recognize patterns in our past successes, our brain begins to anticipate similar patterns in the future. It's important to acknowledge some common challenges people face when trying these methods. One is attempting to control genuinely random events. Some things really are outside our influence, and that's okay. Another is completely dismissing the role of chance. Randomness does exist in life, and acknowledging this is actually healthy. The key is finding a balanced perspective. Also, trying to change too many thought patterns at once can be overwhelming. Research suggests starting with one attribution category and gradually expanding over about 30 days for optimal neuroplastic change. If you find these exercises bring up difficult emotions or if you're struggling with persistent negative thoughts, please don't hesitate to seek support from a mental health professional. These techniques are meant to complement, not replace, professional care when it's needed. To summarize what we discussed today, let me share the key points to remember. First, what we perceive as luck is actually a trainable pattern in our brains. It's not a fixed trait or cosmic decree. Second, believing in your personal capacity to influence outcomes, even in small ways, correlates with measurable improvements in well-being. Third, regularly practicing attribution retraining creates physical changes in your neural pathways. This isn't just positive thinking, it's actual brain change. Fourth, strengthening your sense of internal control activates specific brain regions associated with resilience and recovery from setbacks. Fifth, dopamine levels in your brain directly influence whether you see opportunities as achievable or matters of chance. And sixth, with consistent daily practice over several weeks, you can create lasting changes in how you perceive and respond to life events. Remember, change takes time, and that's perfectly okay. You don't need to be perfect at this, and you don't need to see immediate results. Small shifts in perspective can lead to meaningful changes over time. What matters is that you're taking steps to understand yourself better and to work with your brain rather than against it. Your perception of luck isn't who you are, it's simply a pattern that can be gently reshaped with patience and self-compassion. If today's content provided any support or new perspective, please consider hitting the like button. It helps others find this information who might benefit from it. And if you'd like to continue exploring mental health topics together, please subscribe to Safe Haven Radio. We release new content regularly, all aimed at supporting your psychological well-being with science-based, compassionate approaches. May your hearts feel a little lighter, and may you begin to recognize the agency you've always had in shaping your life's direction. Thank you for listening to Safe Haven Radio, and remember, be gentle with yourself as you practice these new perspectives.